Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I hope I'm audible enough for everybody to hear me. Is the sound coming through very well? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation, which will be under the theme Acknowledging and Managing Change in the New Normal Within the Academia. Um, as you've heard from the title, from the theme of the presentation, acknowledging and managing change in the new normal within the academia. You just get a brief, you just get to know the key words in there: change, new normal, academia. That's where we're going to. That's where we're going to rotate about. But before I go further, briefly let me introduce myself to you. I'm by the names Abbas Idris Lutaya, a lecturer and head of department uh, Business and Management Studies at Al-Mustafa Islamic College. I hold an MBA Management from Kumba University. I hold a postgraduate diploma in the Chartered Institute of Marketing, University of Birmingham. I also have a Bachelor of Commerce Marketing from Makerere University. Besides that, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a farmer, I'm a family man, and so many other things. Um, we know life is full of changes. Life is a series of changes. We started as babies, grew to toddlers, become youth, and now we are grown up. If God wills, we shall grow into old men and women, meaning we go through a variety of changes. In fact, a scholar by the name of Charles Darwin says that in his famous quote, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's rather the one that is most adaptable to change. Um, that's the quote. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that is most adaptable to change. Meaning that those species that can adapt to change are the ones that are bound to survive in any given environment. Another saying goes that you either adapt or you die. Because you expect changes within the environment, you're expected to adapt to those changes. If you do not adapt, you're likely to die. Therefore, why did we choose this particular theme or topic, acknowledging and managing change in the new normal? I'll start briefly by talking about the key words or key concepts within that topic. Acknowledging, managing change, then the new normal. Change, we can say, is anything that brings about um, a divergence from what has been known or from the normal. By definition, many definitions can come up. It's an act or a process through which something becomes different. In other words, you divert from the normal. You get a variation from what has been commonly known. Actually, people have said that time has come where we shall be referring to BC. Okay, we shall be talking about BC, times before Corona. We used to know BC as before Christ. We are referring to those times before Christ. But time has come when we are changing the BC to mean before Corona. The way we used to do things before Corona and the way we are doing things after Corona. Okay, those are concepts that are coming in as a result of the changes that we are undergoing. Then the new normal. This is a new term that has been phrased out and it is commonly used in academia, in business, in everywhere. What is the new normal? This is what has replaced the expected, and it has become the normal. Rather than saying the abnormal, people have preferred to call it the new normal, but it's actually the abnormal because the situation has not been the way it has been. It has changed to the new normal. And this new normal encourages us to deal with the current situation instead of lamenting. All right? We don't have to keep lamenting about the past. We used to do this, we used to enjoy this. That is gone. The new normal demands that we go on and appreciate what has come in and find a way, forge a way of going forward within the new normal. So this new normal has come in all fields, in all aspects of life, in the academia, in business, in our social life, family life, and so on and so forth. But shall we keep lamenting because things have changed? No. We need to find a way of going about the new normal. And actually we say, welcome to where we are right now. We may not be able to go back, all right? And by the way, the new normal may take us some good time. We might be in this new normal for a very long time. So it's time that we stopped lamenting, we appreciate what the new normal has brought, and forge a way on how we are going to live. In the academia, like we shall say or talk about later on, so many things are changing and so many things are expected to change. I wanted to talk about another concept, and that is change management. Change management. So having appreciated that things have changed, how do we manage change? The first step to manage change is to acknowledge that change has come. So before you acknowledge that change has come, you cannot take a step forward. Otherwise, if you keep living in denial, you're not going to make a step forward. I can just give you an example. Take an example of a person, a lady who's been working in a good office, earning big salaries, but then time has come, these salaries are no longer coming in. This means she has to change her ways of living, her spending culture, the way she's been doing things is going to change. Otherwise, if you deny and you think you're going to live the same way when you're still getting that big salary, you're going to find yourself no more. Or take an example of somebody who has contracted a deadly disease, say HIV. You cannot deny that, I don't have this disease. If the test comes out and you're positive, you have to find a way of moving along with the disease rather than living in denial, thinking that the disease will go away because you're denying it. So if you want to accept and move on with change, you start by acknowledging that yes, it's time I moved on in a different way. Otherwise, life will become difficult if you keep denying the new normal, and you're not going to find solutions to the problems that have come or the challenges that are facing you right now. So those are some of the key terminologies I felt I had to explain to you before we go into deep into the discussion. We talk about change management. Like I've said, that change management begins by acknowledging that yes, things have changed. You accept that you have to do things differently, different from the way you are doing them. Now, there are various models regarding change management. But this is not going to be our subject of discussion today, the processes, but change begins from acknowledgement. This is what we are saying. Assess change, meaning acknowledge change. After you've acknowledged that things have changed, and therefore you have to change your way of doing things, you have to change your way for example, in the academia, like we gave the topic, the way we've been conducting lectures, the way we've been conducting classes is going to change by this COVID-19. The coming of COVID has changed a number of things. So likewise, it has affected the education sector. We have to acknowledge, and that is assess change. Acknowledge that things have changed, and then plan the way forward. The second step is to prepare for change. Okay, you have to prepare. There are certain things you're supposed to do to welcome change. Then you plan for change. Planning involves a number of things. Actually, in management, we say a good planner has to find answers to certain questions, and that is the what, the when, the why, the who. Once you find questions to those what, why, when, where, then you're planning. And it's a big requirement, it's a big step if you want to manage change very well. Then you implement, okay, having got answers to those questions, the what, the why, the when, the who, you implement the change that you want. And then you ensure that you sustain the change, okay? You have to sustain the change, and this will eventually lead you to success. Okay, the coming of COVID-19 or Corona as some people call it, has brought a number of changes in the academia. With academia, I'm talking about the education sector, I'm talking about the education environment. How has COVID-19 affected us, people in the academia? Remember, within the academia, there are a number of stakeholders. We have students, the lecturers or teachers. The parents are also stakeholders. We may have other institutions and policy organizations or policy makers like government, ministries, and so on. Now, the coming of COVID has brought about a number of changes. And this is what I'm calling the challenges posed by COVID pandemic. And what we cannot deny is that so many students have been affected with the coming of this pandemic. We are going to see a big numbers of students dropping out from primary, secondary, come to tertiary institutions. Many students are going to drop out of school, out of universities. Many of them are not going to be able to complete their education at whatever level they are. Now, the World Bank came up with a report on the 28th of March 2020 indicating very alarming figures, saying that about 1.6 billion children around the world in 161 countries have been affected in line with education because of this pandemic. And this makes about 80% of the total enrollment of students globally. That's a very big number. So, meaning that this problem, this pandemic, has touched almost every country. So everybody has been affected. There is need for us to come up with a solution. How do we go about it? Because we cannot say that because of this pandemic, we drop out of school, we stop the education, and so on and so forth. We have to find a way of how to go about conducting our lessons, our lectures, and so on and so forth. The coming of Corona or COVID-19, by no doubt, has strained everybody's source of income. Many people within the academia, not only teachers or lecturers, there are so many other stakeholders that have been benefiting or earning their income in line with education. All these have been affected immensely. Okay? So, if people's sources of income have been affected, like I said earlier, it's going to affect a number of other things around them, their livelihood, their social life, and so on and so forth. Okay? The coming of COVID has come up with another challenge regarding the health and well-being of students and staff and all other stakeholders within the academia, as I've earlier mentioned. Okay? This has been seen where so many lecturers and teachers have gone without being paid for months, actually. There are those who last got payment in February, March. A few lucky ones are still getting some payment. But even those lucky ones, we don't know, we cannot guarantee how far will they go along with this, with the income still flowing in. So this means a lot. Many of us or many lecturers are going to be frustrated because the source of income has been affected. And we know each of us has got a number of dependents back home. So if the source of income has been affected, and that means even the people behind you are going to be affected. So we can comfortably say that things are falling apart to many people as a result of this pandemic of COVID coming in. But like we said, we should not live in denial, we should not live or we should not keep denying and lamenting. We have to find a way how we can move along within this new normal. We are talking about new things like social distancing. These are new terminologies that we hardly knew about before Corona or BC. It's going to be a norm. The aspect of social distancing, not only in the academia, it will be the norm in business, even in places of worship and in our social gathering. So how prepared are we to move along with this challenge of social distancing? Now, when it comes back to us in the education sector, the aspect of teaching and delivering lectures and lessons to students is going to be a challenge. The assessment, how do we assess our students? Early alone, we used to give tests, we used to give courseworks, we used to do research, and so on and so forth. But you're going to find that with this pandemic, some of these assessment methods are going to change. The way you're going to be assessing students is going to change, and we should be prepared for this change. Okay, what's the way forward? Having looked at the challenges that have been posed by this pandemic, the COVID-19, how do we manage it? How do we manage this change? That takes us to the way forward, okay, after Corona, AC. There are quite a number of ways that we can go about this, but I'll pinpoint at a few of them. Back to the lecturers, we need to know, or the teachers, we need to know that there is life after Corona. But how do we manage to survive during this terrible time? We have to find other means of source of income, other sources of income. And we know very well that there's no rich person that has got one source of income. The wealthy people we know in our societies globally, they don't have one employment opportunity. They don't have one source of income. So time has come for us to diversify. In the earlier years, in the yesteryears, it was specialization. Okay? Somebody was required to specialize in a certain field. If you're a lecturer, you are required to specialize in a particular subject. You cannot teach all subjects. Say you may be good at geography, but then you may not even teach all the papers in geography. You'll pick a certain paper or a certain topic. The same applied even in business and in other fields. Specialization was the way to go. But right now, with the advent of COVID, we are talking of diversification. So there is no space for specialization anymore. If it is there, it's going to be very limited. So we are required to have diverse skills. We are required to do a number of tasks to find other means of gaining income or getting income. Otherwise, if you're still going to think the way you thought AC or BC before Corona, you might be left behind and eventually you might be no more. So it's time for us, or time has come for us to diversify. There's no harm for somebody to be a lecturer at the same time being a farmer. Myself, I'm a farmer. There's no harm for somebody to be a lecturer, but at the same time you have another business, maybe cleaning business, maybe you have a stall somewhere, maybe you are also in transport business, and so on and so forth. So, fellow lecturers, fellow teachers, time has come for us to diversify. Okay? Think of other ways or other means of generating income. Like they say, the future belongs to the generalists. These are people who can do more than one aspect or one activity. We have examples, people are doing poultry, people are laying bricks. In these 3-4 months we've been at home or under lockdown, people have thought about ways of survival, okay, means of generating income. You can open up a simple company, may not be a company, a simple business in cleaning. You can do some simple confectionery at home, okay, you can bake some cakes, you can do some mandazi and so on and so forth. So, what am I trying to emphasize here? I'm trying to say that time has come for us to diversify. Think of ways of how we can survive minus the salary that you've been depending on. And we teachers of entrepreneurship say the best way of coming up with a business opportunity is by identifying a problem within your society, within your community. Look at where you are, look at where you live, think about the challenges people are facing within the community. Then that particular challenge people are facing, you can turn it into a business opportunity. Take an example. You may be living in an area where the inhabitants are facing a problem of lack of water. There's shortage of water. Now, how can you make that problem, or how can you translate that problem or challenge into a business opportunity? Certainly, if you come up with ideas along or around that particular problem, you're going to be successful. In marketing, we say business is doing marketing is doing business from the customer's point of view. Meaning, you must look at what people want within a given society, within a given setup. Once you are able to satisfy or to offer that service, that good, the way people want it, then you're going to run a business, a successful business. So the best way of coming up with a business idea is by you looking around where you stay, where you work. Okay, what are the problems around here? The problem could be garbage. Now, how can you come up with a business idea from the garbage issue? The problem might be so this and that and the other. So think of the different problems people are facing within the societies they live, the societies they work. And that particular problem can be a step forward for you to come up with a good business idea. Time is not on our side. This particular presentation of mine was supposed to take 30 minutes. I can see I've taken some additional 2 minutes. Otherwise, I thank you for giving me your attention. Again, our theme was about acknowledging and managing change in the new normal within the academia, much as it was in academia, but we talked about even other fields. Thank you. Thank you for giving me your attention. And I think, Mr. Moderator, I think we can now allowing people to ask questions in case there are some, or give supplements for those who have them. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's very interesting, and to all our dear participants, simply raise your hand and we can give you platform to ask you the presented question.
I can see appreciations from the likes of Sheikh Saif, Sheikh Munir. Thank you for participating. If there are questions, please let's have them.
Yes, I think we have a question from one of the participants
Yes.
under the name. I think it's Mr. Bacho. Please go on. Turn on your webcam, turn on your microphone and ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Bate, for the question. Mr. Moderator?
Yes, please go on.
All right, I can see Mr. Bate is asking about the issue of student dropouts. How can we best address the issue of dropouts in the new normal? All I can say is that it will take a combined effort for us to address this aspect of school dropouts. I saw some statistics, I don't know, is it yesterday's New Vision, which was talking about pregnancies that have been registered just within these 3-4 months that students were sent back home. I think it will take a combined effort, like I said, between government, the parents, and the education institutions to find a way forward for the dropouts. Because many have dropped out, one as a result of, or will drop out, like I've said, because of early pregnancies. Now, somebody who has dropped out because of early pregnancies has got some minimal chances of coming back. I'm not saying zero chances, but the chances of a teenager, a student getting pregnant, and then you call him back or you call her back after they've reopened schools, the chances for that person are not many, very minimal. However, there are those who have dropped out as a result of financial constraints, because many parents have not been working, therefore they've not been earning anything. So even if schools open, or even if universities open, especially the private ones, many parents are going to find a challenge of bringing back their students back to universities and colleges. Now, for such a scenario, I think it will take an understanding between the university and the parents or guardians to come to an understanding of how they can perhaps give some time for the parent to pay, allow the students in, and give the guardian time to look for money. So there are people who are going to drop out as a result of school fees. There are those who are going to drop out as a result of families getting shattered. We've registered a number of family breakups, family fights, and so on and so forth. Now, for such cases, it also takes a combined effort. So I cannot give you a conclusive answer, but it will take all stakeholders to come together to address the issue of dropouts. But the government has got a bigger hand in this. If it can come out to help, or to give a supportive hand, then it will go a long way to address the issue of students dropping out. Then the second question is, how can we address the issue of experts leaving the education sector after COVID? You're very right. Many lecturers, many teachers are going to leave this sector because many are frustrated already because they feel they are not valued. Okay, I've heard where we move, where we interact from, people are already cursing why they did education or the profession of education. Now, you may not blame these people so much because experience has taught them, like they always say, experience is the best teacher. Somebody has been at home, locked down for 4 months, is not earning a salary. You don't expect such a person to keep idle, to wait until the schools will come, or rather will open up. So that's a big challenge. Yes, many people are going to leave the education sector. However, my advice would be, please let's diversify, like I've said. You don't have to leave the education sector. You can remain a teacher, you can remain a lecturer, but at the same time doing something else. However, you cannot deny the fact that many people have already made up their mind that they are no longer interested in the education sector, given the experience they've gone through within these 3-4 months. So I may not have a conclusive answer to that, but I know it's because of the situation, the alarming challenges, the alarming situation that is causing people to shift, to migrate from education to other sectors. Because when you look at other sectors, maybe they've not suffered as much. You look at doctors, you look at nurses, for them they've kept on. But I want to assure you that or give you some comfort. It's not the education sector that has suffered alone. When you look at the airline sector, how many pilots have been laid off? When you look at the transport sector, the taxi men, the border borders are also in the same plight. They are crying. But it's just a matter of finding a middle line. You don't have to drop the education sector, but you can only add on it. That's what I can say, Mr. Bate. Thank you for your questions. Okay, I've got the question from Madam Rashida. How would you advise us within the academia about the change in the current situation? I want to re-echo what I said earlier, that the way to go now is diversification. Diversification is about looking at a number of ways of earning an income. Time has come where we cannot afford to do one job. I said specialization was the order of the day in the earlier years. Right now we are talking diversification. And by diversification we are saying somebody should find more than one job or more than one means of getting income. It doesn't stop you being a lecturer, at the same time having a stall somewhere in Owino. You can be a lecturer, at the same time doing some confectionery business at home. Ladies are good at baking, you can do some mandazi, you can open up a canteen somewhere, okay? So find something to do in addition to what you've been doing. And like I said also, that the best way of finding a business opportunity is by looking at the challenges surrounding you, where you work, where you stay. The problems faced by people can become a business opportunity on your site. I gave examples. Many people have got uh, compounds with flowers, right? So you can start up a business in that line. You go about trimming people's compounds, okay? Maintaining the flowers, maintaining or slashing, or what we call lawn mowing, the grass. You can do cleaning business. Many people have started the cleaning business. These are businesses that don't require a lot of money. You can go on cleaning furniture, the sofa set, the walls, the whatever. You can go into fumigation. Many of us have got problems with pests, bed bugs, cockroaches. So the fumigation business is a business that doesn't require any expertise. So all I'm trying to say is that we are in an era of diversification. Find something else you can do in addition to your job, your current job, such that you don't look at one source of income. That's all I can say.
Participant under the name Shamsa, go on and ask your question. You are now present and can ask the question. Turn on your microphone and ask the question.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
My
Madam.
question is about the fact that going to new normal calls for lectures going online, etc. But then the point is most of the lecturers themselves and also teachers have not actually adopted the change of using the modern technologies, most of them in Uganda. And most importantly, many people in Uganda are living in villages of which they don't actually have phones, they can't access internet, etc. So how best can we address that? Because this is calling to go modern, to use modern technologies, etc., etc. How best, which measures can be put in place to address that factor? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Shamsa, for the question. I think that her question was very clear. It's about within the new normal, we've seen that we must go online or online education. But with online education, it has got its own challenges because this is a media that requires us to have these new gadgets, okay? The laptops, the smartphones, and so on and so forth. It's a big challenge, much as we want to embrace the new normal with the new technology. We have to appreciate the fact that not so many or not everybody here can afford to have these technological gadgets for us to be able to go online. And maybe what I can also say, change is not something that comes abrupt. Change is a process. We have to embrace change gradually, slowly. It's a step-by-step process. So all I can say is that with change, it has to be done jointly. We don't rush into change. So it requires financial ability for somebody to access a smartphone, for somebody to access a laptop. The data itself is expensive. So we should not go wholesale. Yes, you can manage to go online, you as a lecturer, but look at the side of the student. How many or what is the percentage of your followers, of your students that can follow, that can access? We cannot deny the fact that Uganda is still among the developing worlds, the developing countries. We have districts where electricity is a challenge, internet connection is a challenge, and so on and so forth. So this is something we have to take on gradually. or slowly. So with the coming of COVID, we may not go wholesale at once, but this does not stop us from trying or from embracing the change with time. That's all I can say. Yes, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Abbas. I think we've had enough questions. I don't see any more hands up.
Okay.
Perhaps we can wrap this up and we end the webinar here.
All right, let me take the opportunity once again to appreciate everybody who has participated, and I also thank you for your time. It's almost an hour since we began. I also wish to thank Al-Mustafa Islamic College for the opportunity that they've accorded me to deliver this presentation. And we can say this is just the beginning. We hope we shall keep on, because this is the new normal now. This is the way to go. So this is just the beginning, and we are very hopeful that we shall keep on going on. And I want also to apologize for any mishaps, for any mistakes that might have come along as I was presenting. Please bear with us, but I thank you so much for your time. I thank the moderator for the good work done. Thank you very much. May the Lord bless everybody of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.